Initially, the idea behind it was to commemorate the second month anniversary of the occupation of Wall Street, which I think is pretty tremendous. In 2 months, a bunch of people living and working together on the streets of New York have fundamentally transformed the world and the way that people think about what they're capable of in the world. And that really says something about the power of human action. If something as simple as going and being together with people in a place for 2 months can completely change the course of history. I think we've seen examples of that, but this generation has really lost sight of the power that people have, and I think that this is really important because our generation is so well equipped to make global social change. Like, we have all of the information infrastructure in place. It's so effortless. But until now, we haven't really known that there was effort, that there was a reason to put effort into anything. There have been a lot of terrible things, but our generation has sort of still been, we failed to be compelled by something. Nothing's really gripped our generation yet. And there have been a lot of really great things that could have gripped us, but for whatever reason, because of how the cultural infrastructure has been created around us, what we've been born into, it hasn't really taken. We haven't really been taken by anything until now. And I think that that's really, it's really important, but that seems to fail to capture somehow. It's crucial, that also seems to fall short. And I guess at the expense of being dry, it's necessary. For us to move forward as a civilization right now, we have to absolutely arrest all of these processes that are being built to destroy us. And that's really what any of this is here. Be it one person standing on a street corner or 10 or 20 people, the whole idea is setting a pick, putting your body in a place that it starts change, and that it continues it forward. So I'm really glad that everyone came out today. And as far as action goes, we came out here and we talked about the nature of the place that we're standing in front of, and all of the some of the places throughout the rest of the city. And then what did we do? We sat down and ate food, right? And I think a lot of people might think of that as a break in the action, as like a small intermission. But I guess kind of what I want to suggest is that's unfortunate, that a lot of people would think that. And I personally feel like eating and sharing food with people, especially nutritious, enriching food, is one of the most revolutionary things that we can do. Because we're in front of these institutions that are de-nourishing us. We're in front of these institutions that are de-nourishing the social infrastructure. And what do? We come here and we fortify each other with perspective. But more importantly, we're nourishing each other. We're making each other healthy, not just as a society, but as organisms. By communing and sharing food, it's not just a break. It's not this anonymous act that has nothing to do with anything. We've been alienated from our food and from our nutrition systematically. Recently, Congress just held up a lot of the administration's efforts to revise nutrition standards in public schools, and pizza is now something that has 2 tablespoons of tomato paste is now considered a vegetable.
Canned tomato.
And so you had these efforts to reform. In schools, children are taught, and in schools, children eat. But those two things are completely coupled. In schools, children are taught to eat, and when you have these industries that profit off of the denourishing of students, off of teaching students to eat food that comes from a box with a label on it. You're taking the power from them to, first of all, understand what they are as an organism, to understand the relationship that they have with the earth and where food actually comes from. And you're robbing them of this incredibly ancient knowledge of how we stay alive and how we work together as a community to help each other stay alive. And the people who are instituting these perspectives are getting incredibly wealthy. They are winning tremendous amounts of government subsidies to create these products that are tremendously unhealthy and unsustainable. They're teaching people that food comes from fast food, and that when we eat in isolation of each other, and we don't talk about or know anything about what we're eating, and there's no value inherent in it other than tastiness. And that's wrong. And so when we were out here today eating beautiful food that beautiful people made for us with care and with consideration of our health, that is a tremendously revolutionary statement that says we'll not be robbed of our power to live. This is about survival. This is why we're all out here. We will nourish ourselves of ourselves, and we will take control fundamentally of how we live and move forward. Because we can't fight if we're in a hospital. We can't fight if we have heart disease. We can't fight if we have cancer. We can't fight if we, are crippled, or undergoing dialysis. The whole point of living is to act and to change things. And the infrastructure that's being built around us, the food that we're being taught is food products rather, that we're being taught to call food, is fundamentally debilitating. It's disempowering, and it's destructive. And it's not a coincidence that people are profiting like crazy off of it. And that these interests are pushing and shaping the agricultural policy of this nation. And so I just wanted to point out how fundamentally important it is that we came here today